one of the things I liked from football that it taught me a lot of resilience, a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And you get hit hard, you gotta get up and go back to it. Going back to the question you asked earlier about can you really teach will? Sometimes you can, because it's not that like a lot of those guys, they're very hardworking, but they have no vision, so they don't have clarity on the future, understanding where you want to go and what you're currently doing. It all comes together. It's like the same path, but you have to understand that, hey, like sometimes you gotta work a little more hours in order for you to accomplish that goal. And yeah, it might not be the healthiest, but it's like a sacrifice. The logo or your brand has a message. Sometimes companies have that missing, and that's why they really don't move up.
Yeah,
because they're ignoring a big thing sometimes in business, and you gotta make sure the message is clear.
All right, family, welcome back to another episode of the VibeConChris podcast, where we don't just talk, we grow through conversations. And today's guest is somebody that I've been watching for a while. He didn't just build a business, he built a standard. From being in ESL classes as a kid to now running a company trusted by people who drive 6- and 7-figure cars. His story is one of patience, vision, and grit. What I love about Nestor is that he didn't just wait for someone to hand him an opportunity, he created it. And now he is using that same mindset to lead a team, mentor others, and build a legacy for his family. We're going to dive into how he made that transformation mentally, financially, spiritually, and physically, and how you can apply those same principles in your own life. So wherever you're listening from, lock in, because this conversation isn't just about business, it's about becoming. My brother Nestor, welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being on, man. So today we are in beautiful, correct me if I'm wrong, because I told my wife we were coming to Riverside, bro, but where are we at?
And Pomona.
In Pomona, there we go. So Nestor, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. I by the way, I watched so many of your podcasts. Thank God you got stuff out there, bro, that I could take a bunch of notes, and I definitely did. So I've listened to your story, man. I know it up till today, right?
Okay.
And since you came to high school and all the adversities that you had, but I don't think most of the people have heard it yet. So if you can tell us a little bit about your story, brother, who Nestor Gutierrez is and what he's able to become too. And then I got a few questions that I hope we can answer together.
Of course. I came to the U.S. at age 8, and obviously that was my biggest obstacle that I had to overcome.
Yeah.
Not knowing the language was really complicated. And it took about 2 or 3 months just for me to start understanding a few words. But I was I was depressed. I didn't want to go to school. I want to go back because I want to go back to my friends. I don't have no friends over here.
Wait, where were you born at?
In Jalisco.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
I'm from Jalisco, yeah.
Jalisco. And
Yeah.
then what's el platillo, bro? What's the best platillo out there that they're known for?
Man, over there, birria. But
yeah,
also,
birria delicious.
I'm close to the coast, so seafood, mariscos. You got two hands.
Okay.
Either seafood or birria, but yeah.
And you know how to get down on that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. We'll test it after the
Yeah.
podcast. There you go.
That was my biggest obstacle when I came to the U.S. And it was very tough because in the community that I grew up, there was no Spanish speaking friends that I had.
Yeah.
Everyone was American, and it made it. I think it was really good, but at the time it was like, damn, dude, I have no one to talk to except my parents, But that also pushed me in a way of making things faster to understand the language and learn it. And you fast forward a couple years and started becoming used to the area, used to what was my new life. And I fell in love with football, and I ended up getting a scholarship that I didn't end up pursuing to Oregon State, the Beavers. And I ended up coming over here. I didn't want to move to Oregon because it was too far. It was like about 8-9 hours away from my home.
Mhm.
And I'm like, one, I'm super introverted. Two, I'm gonna be really far from my parents. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So if there's gonna be something where I go a little bit further, it's gonna be with family. And I have some family over here, and that's why I came over here. I went to JV College. I went to school for automotive technology, and I mean, here we are now. But that was one of the in a nutshell, one of the few things that I had to go through in the beginning stages, making the move over here. And when I started working at the shop that I ended up buying, that was another big one that I had. Managers were really racist, and I
Yeah.
almost left. I almost left because I was not comfortable. I felt like a slave. It just felt like
Mhm.
it wasn't right. It was like my first like legit job, and it just felt like I was being treated unfairly. And I tolerated so much, but then it got to a point like, you know what, like I don't want to keep doing this. It's like, when the saying is like, oh, do you enjoy going to work? And it's like I was dreading every day going to work, and I hated it just because of the people there.
Yeah, you were having to buy new shoes, bro, because you were just dragging them all the way there.
Literally.
No, I feel you, bro. I think we all been there at a certain point.
Yeah.
But quick question, bro, because I kept on hearing you say like you had a football scholarship and all that. But football or soccer?
Football,
Like American football.
American football.
Okay. What
Yeah.
what position were you?
Wide receiver.
I was like, you're either QB, bro, or receiver, bro.
Played a little bit of QB. I wanted to be a QB so bad,
Okay.
but then
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I want to score more touchdowns. So I became a pretty good wide receiver.
No, because I was right off the bat. I was like, man, like you're QB, because like bro, like you're built,
Yeah.
like you're fit
Thank
and
you.
all that. But I was like, you're not 350, But I was like QB, I can see it, bro, because you're very intellectual. And most QBs, bro, like es el pensamiento. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
where am I gonna throw it? Because if I even throw it right there, this was gonna come, that was gonna come.
Yeah.
Where is he even gonna catch it? So
Gotta
I'm
read
like,
the field.
you're and that's what you do with your business, bro. Like you read it so well. You talk about how you break everything down into Excel sheets, bro, and spreadsheets, so that not only you but your team members can also follow through. So I was like, sure, QB. But I was like, okay, but you did play a little
Yeah,
QB.
yeah. Sophomore year, I was second string QB. So yeah,
Okay.
honestly, I liked it,
Mhm.
but I ended up, being the first team wide receiver, and
Yeah.
I started playing football seventh grade, and I had no knowledge in football.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just joined because my friends were part of it, and
Same
I went
typical
into high
stuff.
school, and I'm like, oh shit, it's not flag football anymore. It's actually like putazos, And my
Bro.
mom didn't want me to play. She's like, no, you're gonna get hurt.
She
We
wasn't
can't
wrong, bro.
we
She
can't
wasn't
afford you
wrong.
going to the hospital. And I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
crazy. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna get hurt. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna protect myself. And I just, like the first month was hell. I'm like, damn, dude, this sport is rough.
Every day
But
you were sore.
what I liked about it was what it taught me.
Mm.
That's what I liked about it. The discipline. The team that we had was really, really, really strong. Outside of obviously the sport, but more on the background of unity. I love
Mm.
how everyone lifted each other up.
Yeah.
From seniors to freshmen, and it didn't matter what you were. But that's what I liked, and that's why I started liking the sport more.
Who do you think that came from? Like the coach or like just the culture of the
I, I
school?
I think 100% it did come from the coach. He actually played college football. He had a pretty good career, and I think he's the one that created that culture.
Mhm.
But it was the practices were like, damn, like I had some friends from other schools, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you guys do at practice?" And they're telling me, "Oh, we just, we do this, we do that." I'm like, "Fuck, dude, over here, like for 40 minutes, we're just doing like conditioning, and I hate it." And I mean, the outcome would be like, obviously, that's where the hard work is seen. Like
Mhm.
we would go against opponents, and then I mean, first, second quarter, we're already up by like 4 touchdowns because of the stuff that no one else was doing.
Yeah.
That was seen, obviously, but that's, like I said, one of the things I like from football, that it taught me a lot of resilience, a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And you get hit hard, you gotta get up and go back to it. And I started loving it a lot. And I started as a tight end, actually. I hated a tight end. I'm like, I told my coach, I wanna score touchdowns.
Mhm.
I wanna have interceptions. I wanna be like a creator. Like I wanna make sure that
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing as much as possible to help the team. And
Right.
I worked hard that sophomore year, and then I became pretty good. And junior year and senior year were pretty good. I was in the league, the division. I was the number one receiver. Yeah, and then that's why there was another school that they would always like wanting. Like they never beat us, but every time they would play us, like around homecoming, they would bring the news channel and they create a lot of buzz because they're like, "Oh, this is the year we're gonna beat them." But then along that, they would bring a lot of college coaches.
Yeah.
So at that one game, I did really good. I had like 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and that created some attention, and that's how I ended up getting more eyes for senior year. And
Mm.
I did get that offer from Oregon, and at first I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna pursue it, but it didn't feel natural. I'm like, it feels good, like it's a full ride and whatnot, but inside of me, it's like I don't know if this is really meant for me. I feel like, what about if I get injured? What happens there? And then everything goes to hell. Because I had already my junior year, I had a ACL surgery on my right knee from
Yeah.
basketball, and I'm like, that was in my mind, like, then what about if that happens to my other leg, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what happens there? So that's why,
Well,
like, I shifted into like, let's take a different route,
Yeah.
and you know,
But bro, so like, okay, so then who you are today like came from like literally your youth.
yeah, yeah, of course.
But you come off to me like as an observer, like you
Mhm.
you observe a lot,
Uh-huh.
and like you even mentioned that you always hung around. And this is what stuck out to me a lot. You always hung around like older crowd,
Yeah,
whether it was older Theos, bro. And now I'm assuming if you were a freshman, you were hanging around with like at least sophomores and above,
yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah,
Mainly
so
juniors or seniors.
juniors or
Yeah, yeah,
seniors,
yeah.
yeah, bro. And like I was the same. Now like a little different. I wasn't in sports, I was hanging around with older homeboys, putting me on a lot of game. But regardless of that, who did you get that like competitive? Like, where did it come from?
I think that's really inside of me. But when I was a freshman or
Mhm,
junior wide receiver, he ended up going to college, and he was really, really, really good. So
mhm,
every time after practice, I'm like, hey, can we practice? Hit me hard. Like I want to be like you. So
yeah.
he's the one that he did push me a lot to be more competitive.
Mm,
And he's like, if you score 2, 3 touchdowns, fuck it, you gotta go for 4, 5, 6, 7. Like you gotta keep going for more. Don't be satisfied.
yeah,
So I think there's a combination of a few things, but he definitely did help me in a lot of things. The
yeah.
way of the routes, how to cut, a lot of stuff that obviously came with his experience. So they started calling me like a mini him. It's like, oh, dude, like
Mhm,
you're taller, because he was like 5'8", I was like 6 foot. That was the
yeah.
difference, but he taught me a lot of things that I ended up applying in football.
The reason why I asked is that's one thing, bro. Like I had been on this whole year because I'm like, can you teach the ganas?
Mm.
You feel me? Like, can you teach the ganas?
There has to be a seed inside of you.
Right.
You can't 100% teach it, because
Mm,
it's what's in there that it's a little bit more of fuel when you have someone that somewhere deep in there's a little bit,
mhm.
and you come in obviously and teach him and show him how. But I feel like it just depends.
And then for those non-Spanish speakers, ganas is like will. Can you teach will? Can you teach like, hey, get hit and get back up?
Yeah,
You feel me? So I guess with repetitions, you might be able to teach them to get back up, but the will, I guess up to this point, the verdict is that there has to be a seed somewhere in there already, right?
yeah,
So you were in ESL, right? And
yeah.
for those who don't know what ESL is English as a second language. Like how up until like what grade were you in ESL?
6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hated it, because like, oh, I have to go to ESO class. Like, fuck, I could
Because
have.
they split you.
They split you.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I
oh,
know, I
shit, I
know.
have to go over here now. I have to
Yeah.
break from the regular class, and I have to
Because
go over here.
you're 29 right now, no?
Yeah, I'm 29.
29. Yeah, I just turned 31, and so we're like around,
Yeah, we're
give
right
or
there.
take. Yeah, porque I was the same way, bro, the same way. And then till one day, my mom, it was like from fourth grade to fifth grade. She was like, "No, you're going to English." And like one thing about my mom, bro, like you were not gonna embarrass her. Like
Not
my
happening.
mom to this day she'll go to extremes, bro. But you will not embarrass her, and embarrassing for her was like, "You're not in English class yet, like full English," you know. So bam, she throws me halfway through the semester in there, and I still remember like this story to this day, bro. His name was Mr. Silva, bro. First day there, and then like they made us draw something, right? And I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry, like I messed up." He's like, "Turn the paper over." And like turn the paper over is like turn the paper over, but like, bro, I didn't know what that meant. So I just turned the paper like that, from vertical to horizontal, and then
Yeah,
from
yeah.
horizontal to vertical. And he's like, "Chris, just turn the paper over." And then I'm like, I do it again. And then he comes over, bro, slams his hand. Then he's like, "Can you not do this?" And bam, he flips it over.
Uh-huh.
And then the whole class is just laughing, bro. And like, that's welcome to full English, Chris type of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So that like it was a little traumatizing, bro. And so like I just wanted to see like how was your experience
Mine,
with
I think
ESL?
it was a little. I mean, I don't want to say a little better, but
Mhm.
it was a little smaller. It was just literally
Yeah.
just me and two more kids.
Oh,
Yeah, so
snap.
it was.
Okay.
I mean, the school I went to, probably like 150 people in the whole high school. It was tiny. It
Holy
was tiny. I mean,
smokes.
the whole
Okay.
town has 450 people.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a town,
So
bro.
tiny. So I was saying like that's why like it was a lot smaller, but I think it was very helpful because like I said, there
Mhm.
was more like one-on-one type of
Yeah.
things, and versus when you have a teacher and you have more kids, you can't really give them that attention sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's what helped me accelerate the process of learning it. And
Mhm.
same thing, my mom and my dad were on my ass all the time. Hey, are you paying attention? Kind of make sure that
Yeah.
you learn English. You got to learn English. And I think I did get it on very, very quick, just because, like I said, I was obviously after being in my own little ways for the first few months.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, there's no going back.
Yeah.
I gotta learn it, and I gotta make the best out of it, and it worked out. But that was my experience.
Yeah, because I do see a difference, bro, like, in people that speak more than one language,
Yeah,
whether, it's English and Spanish or whatever the other case might be, and even instruments,
yeah.
because, like, learning an instrument is a whole nother language.
Oh yeah,
I see them pick up things, like, a lot quicker, bro.
yeah,
A lot quicker than somebody that just speaks Spanish or just speaks one English
yeah.
in general, man. Like, did you once you began to learn English, did you see yourself, like, if you could look back now, maybe not at the time you recognize it, but now looking back, like, did you start picking up things, like, a lot quicker?
Obviously, my mentality now is way different
Mhm.
than back then. But I think the same way I apply the language is the same way. Like I was not athletic in third grade. I felt like I was pretty fat, and I felt like I was getting bullied not only by the language, but like this kid
Like,
doesn't play sports.
but
Like
like, how much were you coming in? Because you
I
say you were 6
we'll
feet,
put it
though.
this way. I mean, in third fourth grade, I weighed probably more than in high school.
Yeah.
So I was in the 160s
Bro,
in the
so
fourth fifth
then
grade.
you were
So.
shopping in the Husky section at Sears, huh? I only know because I was there, bro. Dude, in middle school, my mom was getting me 38.
Damn. Damn.
Hey, bro, we were in the same place, right?
I was
We
like
were in the same place,
I was
Mr.
like
Judge.
32, 34, but yeah,
Yeah, always
it's
30.
just crazy that for me, like I said, I'm
Mhm.
like going back to the language, I'm like, if I learn in English, I
Mhm.
have to learn how to play sport. I
Yeah,
started learning how to play basketball,
yeah.
and slowly started going into football. And it's funny because obviously over here there was no soccer in our school, so I'm like,
Mm.
it's either basketball or football. There's no soccer. There's no option for soccer. And then later, when I went into middle school, my eighth grade year, I was losing more weight. But then I'm like, I gotta go to high school, and I want to lose more weight. So
Mhm.
I started doing soccer at the club, and then I started doing football. And man, that fall, I lost so much weight. Like freshman year, I think the lowest I was like 145. Like I was really super skinny,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
would eat so much, but it was just because I was so active. Like I
Yeah.
said, the workouts in football and then the working out in soccer. Sometimes I would leave like a soccer game like 10 a.m. and I had a football game at 2 p.m. and it's like I'd be so exhausted, but I
Mhm.
would just make it work.
No, yeah, at that age, that's all you wanted to do,
Yeah,
just be
yeah.
bouncing off the walls.
Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, same here. Like, after 8th grade, because, like, literally in 5th grade, I think 5th grade or 6th grade, they wanted to take a little piece out of my liver.
Oh, really?
'Cause they were like, "Yo, like, your son's fat,"
Your son's
you
fat.
know? And, that's when my mom, like, she just broke down, started crying. She's like, "No, vas a comer mejor." And I'm like, nobody in the house knew how to eat better, bro, you know? Like, it was something that, like, like, first generation here, man, like, that's not something that you just paid attention to,
Yeah.
just trying to survive. And, yeah, after that, like, yeah, in high school, pues, I was like, "Nah, like, the girls ain't looking at the fat guys, bro." Like,
Yeah.
they weren't. So, yeah, también, I lost a bunch of weight, man, like, going into ninth grade. Yeah, from 8th grade to ninth grade, that's when I started losing weight and things shaped up,
Yeah.
and I did too.
Cool.
Yeah, but so I know that you mentioned like, you were, well, basically, like, getting harassed, bro, like, right there at, Rancho Express, right?
Yeah.
By the former managers, but see, this is the thing, man, and I don't know if this is something that you heard or maybe you were even told yourself, but in the Latino community, it's like, "Hey, man, just be grateful you got a job and
Oh yeah,
suck it
yeah.
up."
Yeah, of course.
Suck it up and take it.
That was my mentality. I'm like, I fucking hate this, but
Yeah.
man, maybe there's someone else going through the same thing. I'm like, I'll stick with it. But then my dad's
Mhm.
like, no, I don't care what you are. Like, you never let anyone look at down, never let anyone look down at you like they do. So I
Mhm.
just want you to quit, and we'll figure something out. So that was him. He's like, like I don't care if it's just the only job you have, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have you not work just because I don't want you to be treated that way.
Mm.
But it all worked out. The owner ended up seeing how things were actually working,
Good.
and he ended up firing those guys. And that's when I put in more work. I mean, not just because I'm not about kissing ass. I'm just
Yeah.
about like just work hard and do more than what you're paid for.
Yeah.
And that was really appreciated by him. And I think that's one of the reasons why I ended up getting the opportunity that I ended up getting. But it's the little things that go a long way. Like I would do so many things, and like I said, it was just out of heart, and
Mhm.
it wasn't just be like, oh, I want to get a raise. It was like none of that was going through my mind. I
Yeah.
was just like, I just want to make sure that I over deliver. I want to make sure that like the owner knows that he can count on me for whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's literally like the first thing that I told my wife, bro. Like I told like this is one of the most excited podcasts that I like that I'm doing, bro, because you don't really run across that type of work ethic
Hmm.
that you lead with value
Hmm.
and you literally don't even expect nothing back.
Yeah.
It like it's not that common. Now, maybe now it's a little more common in the circles that we're around,
Hmm.
but coming up, bro, like
Oh yeah.
that was like, hey, ¿para qué haces eso?
Yeah. You already can like get paid.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no te van a pagar más. Like, they would even call you, like, tell you, like, hey, estás tonto.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're overworking yourself. Like, you don't own the place, and then now you own the place. Look
Yeah.
at you. But so a question that I had here, bro, is, and it was exactly towards that because, like, for myself, I became a plant manager for LUSD at age 20, and I
Oh.
became the youngest plant manager there. And I was overseeing people that were 25 years in the position that I had just leveled up from.
Yeah.
And I only had 20 years in this earth. You feel me? So like there was obviously there was
Yeah.
a lot of friction starting off. And it was the same thing for you. So what was one thing that you did like right off the bat to be like, yo, how am I supposed to lead these men when they still see me as a boy?
As a
And you
kid.
obviously weren't a boy no more, but like it's not about what you are, it's how you're seen by them.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I was 20, I think, when I was officially the manager.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a 40-year-old. I think I had a 50-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Average was like 35. Sure. Hey, can you do this? Sure. Hey, can you do this? Some wouldn't even answer. Like shit. Well, I ended up doing it. Like you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of asking, I'm just gonna start doing it. And then there was a day where the owner's like, "Why are you mopping floors right now?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
He goes, no, 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 no. Like, you put this person to. I'm like, dude, like, it's okay. I'll mop floors out. Like, that's not a problem, you know?
Yeah.
No, you don't understand. Like, if you're doing this, then some of these guys are not doing anything else. And it's like, you should be doing other different things, not mopping floors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, here's the issue. Sometimes I tell them, and obviously they're not okay because a lot of these guys were 40 or older and then, they think, seniority, whatever it is. So I'm like, I don't mind. And they're like, you know what? We're going to have a meeting. We're going to talk about if whatever you tell them needs to be done, and whoever doesn't like it, it needs to leave. Oh shit! So I told him like, no, there's no need for that. Just maybe we should get someone that's older to
Mm-hmm.
run the show, and then I'll be under them. Like, no, no, no. I want you in charge. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want no one else. So we're gonna do this. If they like it, it's fine. If they don't like it, whatever. And then that was a game changer because then a few people, I think two left within a few weeks.
Yeah.
But it did give me more respect. But it's because
Mhm.
he spoke up. And they would see it that I wouldn't be like, I was never just like just sitting down and just doing nothing. If there was no work, I would do whatever I would have to do, and then sometimes I would start cleaning, throw trash away. I mean, sometimes I'd be on my knees, like just cleaning up all the spills. I didn't care. Like I said, I just saw it as a like, I gotta make sure that this place is clean. That's all,
Yeah.
like that was my mentality. Who
Mhm.
cares if I get paid more or not? Like that, I never thought about that.
You never cared about the title. You
I
just
don't,
did
I
the
don't, I don't
yeah.
care.
I feel you. I
Yeah.
feel you. But now, how did you feel like before walking into that meeting, bro?
I felt nervous. I'm like, damn,
Uh-huh.
I felt like they're gonna think that I went to him and I'm telling like telling, and I just
Mhm.
felt like a little boy, like
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to be completely honest with like, hey, this is what's happening. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, did you do and the reason why I'm holding in on it, bro, is because like imagine how many people are going through that right now,
Mhm.
in the position that we were both at. Because I had to do something similar también, but like did you prep in any way for this or did the owner at that time just spring it on you? It's like, hey, we're gonna do this right now. And
There was like literally it was like same day. It was maybe like afternoon, and we had a
yeah.
meeting near end of day. So
So he sprung
it was like yeah,
so, nomás
yeah, yeah.
un recito y
Yeah, yeah,
vámonos,
yeah, yeah.
¿verdad? Go
But
handle
I
it.
was so nervous like that.
Yeah.
I felt like I was getting in trouble.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, no, it worked out. It worked out. Obviously, there's a few people that they didn't really like it. It was just like,
Mhm.
you can tell in their faces, but it was needed. It was needed.
100%. Because for me, what I did is I just went on Google and I put, hey, the number one manager book,
Oh, okay.
and the first book that came out was How to Win Friends and Influence
Oh, a great
Influence
book.
People or Others, right?
Yeah, great book.
And then my biggest takeaway from that book was up until recently, it was, hey, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But then I found out, I'm like, yo, like a professional knows that that's half of it, because it does matter what you say.
Mhm.
And it matters even more how you say it. So your tonality, your pauses, like, are you listening to the person to just respond, or are you listening to understand them?
Yeah.
So great book. For whoever hasn't picked it up, definitely pick it up, man. Now, when you bought the business, I know that you said that there was a few things that needed to be. It didn't have the best reputation,
Mhm.
right? So coming in, and you see it in businesses that they put up a banner like, "Hey, under new management." So
Yeah.
like, "Hey, come through." Like it's not the same people no more, right?
Yeah.
But what's something that you did to change that?
I think one of the biggest ones that I did was show people that we actually care for them
Mm-hmm.
and just do the honest thing, the right thing, and that started going a long way. And for me, I took it on as a big challenge because I'm like, I see the problems. A lot of people, sometimes they come in, they're in a bad attitude, they obviously don't trust us, so if they don't trust us, they're not gonna buy from us. So I gotta work on the relationship, and then maybe in the future, not immediately, but I'm like, maybe next year when they need other services, maybe hopefully they'll choose us.
Yeah.
And one of the things I also applied was, at the beginning, even when I took charge, it was just mainly oil changes. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
minor stuff like wiper blades and filters and whatnot, but nothing like ACs, nothing to that stage of like bigger services,
Mm-hmm.
just because we didn't have the equipment, we didn't have the technicians trained for that, and it was more of a liability. So it's like, nah, let's stay away from that and just focus on what we do.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, nah, I gotta offer more to my clientele, because if I really want to help them out, I have to make sure that it's convenient for them. Because if they come for just one service, to us, and I'm not able to offer more services, then they have to go somewhere else. And what about if they have a bad experience somewhere else? And it's like, I'm not really helping them. I gotta
Yeah.
take on the challenge. I gotta bring more equipment. I gotta bring the people and make it work.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh no, pues el sol sale para todos, so let them go somewhere else." And it's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 bro. Like if why not give them the utmost service that you can, right? Like también, you're probably not swapping out engines or
No,
something,
no, no.
Pero
And yeah, so I'm staying away from the harder labor,
mhm,
because for me, like, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, the name is Rancho Express Lube.
right,
It's not Rancho Engine. So it's like,
mhm,
if I do engine swaps, it just doesn't fit.
right, right,
So I stuck more towards preventative maintenance, where we can do pretty much everything that can happen on a daily basis. Get a flat tire, AC's not working, car's overheating, it needs an oil change, it needs brakes,
right.
just quicker stuff that we're able to help the people out there, and getting them back on the road. So it's how you want to look at business. Sometimes, like, people are like, oh, what do you do? Oh, we change oil, or oh, we change brakes. But I don't think about it like that way. I
Mhm,
don't think that we just do oil changes, or we just change brakes. I think that our mission is to help you and your family stay safe on the road. So when a
mm,
client comes in, it's not like, oh, we're gonna change the oil on their car. No, it's like, we gotta keep them safe on the road. How do we do this? We gotta make sure that we do a complete inspection the right way, making sure that the customer can leave with peace of mind, knowing that the car is in good shape.
wow,
If it's not in good shape, make sure that they understand what needs to get done.
mhm,
I don't care if it doesn't get done with me. I just want them to understand how the car looks. So that's the way I look at the things that we do. And
right,
like I said, there's other people that are like, oh yeah, I'm just a mechanic. And I think, I heard this in a podcast too. I forgot who it was, but they went in to NASA headquarters, and they asked the janitor,
mhm,
like, hey, so what's your position? Oh, I'm the janitor, but I help this and that. Our mission is this. So the purpose of that was like, hey, like, they asked him, hey, yeah, I clean restrooms, but he didn't say it like that. He's like, no, I am the janitor, but I still help the company do XYZ. So it's the same
mm,
concept. Some people just go to work and they're like, yeah, I'm this, but they don't feel included in what's actually happening in the business.
yeah,
And I think sometimes it's because there's a lack of vision from
yeah.
the top. If you don't talk about vision or mission, then what do you expect from the employees? They're not gonna be engaged.
Bro, that's crazy, man. Our mission is to keep you and your family safe on the road.
Yeah, that's our mission.
Like I'm thrown back, bro, because like how many automotive technician places have that?
Not that many.
Not that many, bro.
Yeah.
Not because it's the first time I ever heard that, bro.
Yeah.
The first time I ever heard that. That's fire, bro. But So before you even bought the business, I know that you mentioned that you were kind of like going back and forth and being like, "Hey man, you know what? Hope that he sells it, and I'm gonna go buy me a new whip. I'm gonna go buy me a new Benz." What? But I never really heard you go into like what was the processing system, bro? Who did you chop it up with? What did you do that you were like, man, a one-time payment or a recurring payment? Like, what did you do that made you be like, you know what, let's try to buy this?
Every time we would talk about this with the owner, I was like always trying to finding a reason on why not to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the money. I'm not ready for it. I don't know anything about business. I don't think it's the right time.
Yeah.
It started being offered at 20, 21. And at 21, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a class to learn more about business. And I ended up taking a class. I learned, basics, but my mentality started shifting a little bit, like, of why not me? Like, don't
Mm.
highlight the things that are kind of like in the way. Like, how can we make it work? And
Mhm.
me and my dad started talking about it, and we're like, oh, if we only had the money, if we only had this, what, well, like, let's start getting that. Like, maybe we don't have it today or next month, but like, how can we start, like, maybe going towards that way of like, shit, why not us?
Mhm.
And I think that's when I started getting more into reading. So I
Yeah.
think my mind started thinking a little bit different. And when the last like call was like, hey, is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be someone else? That put into perspective, like, shit, time is here.
Yeah.
So I started reaching out to a few people. I told my dad, like, hey, dad, I'm ask around to see, who can lend us some money.
Mhm.
And I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Hey, I'll be at peace of mind if it ended up being that way, that I was not able to get the resources or whatever, and I just want to kind of leave it all out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I talked to the owner, like, you know what, like, I've been telling you the whole time how I feel, and the biggest thing in the way right now is obviously money. And he's like, you know what, I don't want you to stop moving forward just because of the money. So give me just 40 grand as a down payment. We'll do monthly payments. If you're able to do that, we'll make it work.
Mhm.
And I had a target. I had to get 40K.
Yeah.
Slowly started gathering them up, and at the time, my girlfriend's dad, I told him about it. Hey, like, I have this opportunity and blah blah. He's like, oh, I'll lend you the money. And I'm like,
Wait, so y'all weren't married yet?
we were married
What
yet.
did he do for work?
He's an electrician. Yeah,
Union or he has
he
his own?
was union, but he has his own company.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
So yeah,
he did
so
have
he
some.
he helped me tremendously, and that was one of the reasons why we ended up moving forward, because he helped me big time.
Yeah.
And I told my former boss at the time, I'm like, I know that we talk about, pay you off in 3 years, but I mean, just know that I'm gonna try to pay you out as quickly as possible. I,
Yeah.
I, I hate having that on my side.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I told him, what, hopefully in 18 months, but we'll see how business goes.
Yeah.
And I remember that day that it was officially mine. Like, it took me a couple, I would say a couple days to kind of like, fuck, it's mine now. It's
Yeah.
actually mine. But that day that we closed the deal, it was July 31st, and it's like I was there until like 11. I was like just looking like, "Damn, this place is mine. Like, it's mine, but shit, it's mine, but like all these bills are coming up pretty fast, and they're like, how do we get there? So I didn't really sleep that first day, but
Yeah.
next day I'm like, fuck, we gotta make it work. So
Mhm.
obviously a little bit of more motive inside of me.
Mhm.
I gotta make sure I go out there and do above and beyond and more,
Yeah.
and my goal was like, what, I gotta pay him off hopefully in a year, and I ended up paying him in 10 months. And
Wow.
and it was because I was just pushing and pushing at the same time. I was also paying off my father-in-law.
Yeah.
And after that was over, now it's like, what, now it's more of money for us, more profit. But then that's where it went wrong. That I started cutting back again, and pretty much spend everything I was making.
Mm.
And it got to a point where I'm like, you know what, this is not growth.
But
This
like,
this
so
this
when you say spending, like what do you mean spending?
just spending on stupid shit. Like, I was just like, oh, let's go over here, let's go over there, and let's do this, and let's do that, but nothing that was making me money. So I
Mm.
was just spending just on ego stuff,
So some people would say experiences, bro.
Yeah,
Just fucking with you.
I'll say that there was
Yeah,
two
yeah.
good experiences from that, but other than that, it was just like money was just being wasted,
Mhm.
and that's when I started getting myself more involved in personal development. I went to
Mm.
my first conference, which was automotive, and that's when my mindset shifted big time.
Yeah.
Just hearing what the people in the room were, I'm like, damn, they're making this much, and I'm
Mhm.
like, damn, like, how can I get there? I started talking to someone, and they started telling me, oh yeah, my systems and my operations. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I do everything over here. Like, I'm the
Yeah.
manager, assistant, the mechanic, like that. So you're saying that you do it differently over there, and
Yeah.
and that started becoming my focus. I'm like, I gotta make sure that I don't do everything. I gotta start putting the right people in the right places,
Yeah.
and that way I can focus on growth. And I
Yeah.
ended up going on to the next one, and 10x, and then we met at Driven, and rest is history.
But like how did your circle of friends look during that time, bro? Like when you were spending?
It was good, but
Mm-hmm.
not good, obviously, because a lot of that money spending was like living at the clubs every weekend,
Yeah.
living at the bars, and just wasting money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a good time, a good experience, but sometimes we're just escaping the reality, and it's like, oh, let's go get drunk at the weekends, just
Yeah.
because we have the money or whatever, but or just to look cool. But
Living
it
for
just
living for the people that you won't
literally,
forget, but the nights that you won't remember.
yeah,
Bro, I like we had a quite a span of that. You feel me? That's
yeah.
why I ask. I'm
We
like,
all we
it should
all
make
we all
sense.
go through it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the biggest positive that I tell people from that, I'm like, listen, when you go through, you're meant to go through, bro, and you're meant to grow through. But way too many people just go through it, but
yeah,
they don't grow through it.
yeah,
You feel me? Because you are most qualified to help those who you used to be. So ahora, when they invite you, when they tell you, hey, let's go over there, let's go there, it's like, bro, like nadie me va a decir like de lo que me voy a perder. Like I already went
yeah,
through it. I already
yeah.
know
Of
what it
course,
is, I already know what it is.
of
So like
course.
that's how I see the huge plus of it. And thank God, like nothing happened,
Yeah,
like records clean y toda la cosa.
that's
And
good.
and you woke up in time and it's like, hey, lock in.
A lot of the friends that I had, which is like obviously just youngsters, like
Hmm.
some of them were younger than me, some were the same age, but we're all very immature, and
Yeah.
and I slowly started like kind of like, oh no, I can't this weekend, I can't this weekend. I slowly started pushing away,
Hmm.
and like 6 months later, they just stopped inviting me, and then they're like, oh,
Mm.
he's too cool now, he has a business, and yeah, he has better things to do, and yeah, he's too cool, and he's too cool. And at first, honestly, I mean, it did hurt. It's like shit, like man, maybe I am being a little too rude, but man, but
But did any of
I'm
them
trying.
support though? Like
There,
come
there
and
was
get
there was
come and
two
get.
that supported.
No, no, but what I mean by support is like, hey, did any of them, especially the ones that left, bro, like,
Uh-huh.
did any of them come and like get their card done with you
Well, that's what I'm
or?
saying. There was
Oh,
two.
okay,
There was
okay,
two that supported like the
okay,
full
gotcha.
way. They would come
Yeah,
in and spread the word, and they're like, yeah, I completely understand. I know that you're trying to like kind of focus
yeah,
on your business. I completely support it. So I don't care if we don't see each other every weekend. Like, but let's at least hang out here and there. Like, yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that slowly started doing. They started doing the same thing I did, and
Mm-hmm.
that circle was broken after a while. And it's sad. I mean,
Yeah,
some of those people are still doing the same thing today, and they're like in their probably mid 30s, 30s or whatnot. And it's like
yeah,
it's sad to see because when things start going better, sometimes you trying to help the people that you were hanging out with in those days,
oh,
just to be like, hey, you know what, there's a lot of opportunity, things are different, I can help you with this. But going back to the question you asked earlier about like, can you really teach will?
yeah. Mm,
Sometimes you can, because it's not that like a lot of those guys, they're very hardworking, but they have no vision, so they don't have clarity on their future.
yeah,
They kind of like they hustle hard, they work 8-10 hours, good jobs, but for what? Just for it to go to the waste on the weekends. Like
yeah,
that's a problem.
yeah. No, and it is, bro, because man, like you look and that's where like I had to catch myself too. I was like, man, like for our age, I was like, man, we're doing all right, Like I was working a bunch of overtime, bro, and like, but what the hell do I have to show?
Yeah.
And but that was when I started like getting into different circles. Now I was getting exposed to different environments. I started doing more personal development, and I'm like, damn, like when you begin to read, it's like the light turns on in your eyes and it begins to illuminate your path, and you're able to see things that you weren't able to see before. And I was like, fuck, I can't do this shit. Like, I can't continue to do this porque then I'm gonna look like that fool right there,
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of lame, bro. Like 35, 40, still at the club. And
Yeah.
and it's not like you're taking out your team. You're still right there at the bar and just spilling half your drink, getting back to that little corner in the little
Yeah.
section. And I'm like, something's gotta change, bro. Did your wife have something to do with it too?
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we talked about it. Like, hey, like I feel like
Yeah,
saying that we're too cool now, but like let's kind of like bring it down a notch because we both like went through our finances and started noticing like we're spending way too much money in the weekends.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, bottle service adds up, especially when you go Friday and Saturdays. Like shit, like is it really needed? Is like that's a house
Yeah.
payment, you know, and
Yeah.
we started slowly cutting back on it, and we both agreed, and it worked out.
Yeah, because I honestly, bro, like it was like one day, like, I was a little hungover, and then I was like, man, I could give her a better life,
Mhm,
but I'm choosing not to.
mhm.
So then, but it took time,
Yeah,
like
of
forever. Hey,
course.
yo, it takes time from you to start noticing it to the change actually consistently being made,
Yeah.
So, but start or you're never going to finish. Well, on that topic, bro, what is something that you wish you would have known sooner as a businessman, bro?
The actual meaning of business.
Mm,
When I first, like I said, when I first got the business, I was wearing all the hats. I was a manager, system manager, mechanic, the janitor. I was everything,
yeah,
and there was no time for me, you know. And
yeah.
yeah, I would do 10, 12 hour shifts, probably even more sometimes. But it's like I still felt like I was not progressing, and it was because I was doing all the stuff around it because I thought that if it wasn't me doing it, it wasn't getting them right. And it went back
Mm,
to like, okay, if that's the problem, then
yeah,
the issue is bigger than just going through the motions daily, day by day. You know, it's like
yeah.
we don't have the right people in the right positions. In. So leadership is huge when it comes obviously to business. And then obviously after that, it's like creating SOPs and whatnot. And that I wish I would have known that from day one. And I think probably be 3x, 4x more than where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, the first 2 years of business, I lost a lot of time just
Mhm.
because I was going through the day by day. I did
Mm.
not have a business. I had a high paying job. You know, that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad obviously I opened my eyes and I started like learning that stuff that sometimes they don't teach you in school.
So
You know,
you were like fully just working in the business, but you weren't
on
really
the
working
business.
on the business.
Yeah.
I got you, bro. So, staying on this topic of like partying and stuff, now that obviously things have changed, obviously you practice delayed gratification, right?
Yeah.
But how does that look like to you now? Because like we started implementing that, but like I went to the whole extreme of like no matter what accomplishment is made or anything, I'm like, cool. My celebration now is either like a quick breakfast with the wife or like a deep workout at the gym now.
Mhm.
Because I don't really get that hour and a half or 2 hours to go smash at the gym and
Yeah. Yeah.
like get that deep work in. But how do you practice delayed gratification? And when you celebrate, how do you celebrate now?
So it's I mean now it's completely different. Now I just want more time with my kids and my wife. Like
Mhm.
that's like my celebration, you know.
Yeah.
I could have the biggest day and it's like, oh, like it's just kind of like okay, cool, like on to the next one tomorrow. Here, I have to make more, you know. So I feel like that's sometimes one of my issues that I'll acknowledge it, and sometimes it's like yeah, it's whatever, school, you know. But then if we take it back, it's like damn, dude, like you came a long way. But sometimes I feel like I don't stop and sit on it too long. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I'm ready already for the next target, you know. Now, like I said, I just want more time for myself and my family, and if it's about obviously celebrating the little wins, yeah, you know, we take out the team, we bring my wife. We celebrate like for example, like we go to Top Golf a lot with my
Oh, okay.
team. And by my close friends in the area, and also my wife, and you know get to actually hang out outside of work, which is always
Mhm.
good. And that's really like how my day to day goes. You know, I just want at the end of the day, I want more time to make it better. You know,
Mhm.
and not because I mean a lot of people sometimes are like, oh, I want to get to this, you know, whatever. Let's say it was a monthly target. Sometimes they get to it and they start celebrating too much, and then it's like
Mhm.
kind of like they forgot about moving forward. They just gotta that pit stop became like the main stop, you know. And I
Yeah,
think
that's clean. Yeah.
it's just how you want to look at it. But that's the way I look at it. I feel like you gotta celebrate the small, the medium, and the big ones,
Yeah.
but you could also acknowledge that hey, you know what, like you know, round of applause, we did it. You know, here's our reward, but let's keep moving. We can do way more than this. We can all do more, and if we do this, you know, this is what opens up an opportunity as well.
Man, bro, because like a lot of people they're like, hey, that's not healthy.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I,
of course, like it's not healthy or like,
well, of course, people are because a lot of times I feel like people talk about the life work balance, and I think that's why when it comes in with it's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I mean, when I look at the life work balance, it, it's hard for me to be like work 8, 10 hours in the business and give my family 8, 10 hours. I mean, then we have 20 hours and it's like I have 4 hours to sleep, so I can't really balance the scale, So
Yeah.
I gotta make sure, if I give 8 to my business and I give, let's say, 4 to my family, I gotta make it count as much as possible
Mm-hmm.
and not just waste it. So when I look at that, I wish I had more time with them, but knowing that sometimes you have to make certain sacrifices. So it's like I work hard now to make sure that in the future we have a better life, because yes, I can do, I mean, I can do whatever I want now, but it's like I know for a fact that if I stop doing the things I've been doing, I know where that's gonna take us. So understanding where you want to go and what you're currently doing, it all comes together. It's like the same path, but you have to understand that, hey, like sometimes you gotta work a little more hours in order for you to accomplish that goal. And yeah, it might not be the healthiest, but it's like a sacrifice. I look at it
Yeah.
as sacrifices.
Have you ever heard of the gentleman called Myron Golden?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that he explained it, and it was so beautifully explained, man. He said, "Look, there's a season of focus and there's a season of balance, but you cannot
Yeah.
have both at the same time." And like the way I interpret it is like, like those professional cameras, you do a half click and it focuses on one thing and it blurs everything else out.
Yeah.
But when you just take the full picture, everything comes out.
Yeah.
So when you're in focus, you're out of balance. But when you're in balance, you're out of focus.
Yeah.
And a season of balance only comes from a season of focus. And a season of focus can be 3 months, can be 3 years, can be 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
their season of focus was like for a few decades.
Yeah.
You feel me? But out of that, I mean, shit, they didn't quit, bro. They didn't quit. I guess they're outliers. But regardless, like, after that season, then comes the season of balance. And when he put that into that perspective and he painted that picture, I was like, got it. Maybe I am crazy, but you gotta be crazy to be able to do something like
Yeah.
this.
Of course.
You
You're
know?
sick with it, even when it's ugly.
Yeah. And by the way, man, congrats on being in Grant Cardone's 10X, bro, right
Thank you.
there. Is that a new logo that you made or
This is my personal logo. Yeah.
personal logo?
Yeah.
How long ago did you make that one?
About a year ago.
Year ago?
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
because I when I seen you, I was like, damn. I tell my wife, I'm like, I need that. That's a sick
I'll
logo.
get you one for sure.
Thank you, bro. I was like, so I'm big on frequency, bro. As a matter of fact, I used to start out the podcast like, hey, energy is a form of frequency, and your frequency is what you frequently see, but also what you frequently attract.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you were in Grant Cardone's mentorship, but I also saw that you were with David Meltzer.
Correct.
Right. And by the way, guys, he has a sick podcast that he filmed at SoFi Stadium with David Meltzer.
Thank you.
But David Meltzer said that the fastest way to elevate your frequency is through experiences and mentors. How has Grant Cardone's mentorship helped elevate your frequency? And what can you see now that you couldn't see before?
I mean, I've had a lot of mentors, but I think Grant has been very life changing, at least in my way of doing business. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because a lot of things that I learned from him, I applied them, I saw results, and I was like, damn, it actually worked. Even though it's a completely
Yeah.
different industry, it's like
Yeah.
I learned the message from it, and I went ahead and applied it, and it was like, damn, that was wonderful. I could have keep going for more, so that's why I ended up, the 1,000 turned into 5,000, 20,000, and I kept going for more because it was working.
Mm.
Not saying that with other mentors it wasn't working, but what I like about 10x and what they do is that you actually get their support. Their team is so big that yeah, sometimes you don't work directly with Grant, but you work with a really good team
Yeah.
in the sales department, operations, whatever you want to have. Like you get their support. Other than the support, they hold you accountable. So that's a big one because I mean,
Yeah.
I mean I've done investments before that like yeah like you feel like learn something, but it's like if no one's like knocking on your door like hey, so are you doing the work? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Sometimes we need that little question that we're like, shit, I'm actually not. Hey, okay, let's get to work, and I need this done by this date, and make sure I'm doing it for you. So I get a lot of that from 10x, and I think that's what started pushing me. And like, okay, we gotta make it work. We gotta put in the work because if we
Yeah.
don't put in the work, we're not gonna get the results that Grant did. But
course.
that's what I like about the 10x community. It opened up a lot of opportunities for me, for sure. I a lot of the friends that I have now actually came from 10x and also came from Albert Even though,
Mhm.
10X is like in Florida, a lot of people are part of the community. So every time I go to an event, a lot of people come from California,
Yeah.
from Pasadena. I met a lot of people, San Diego, LA, obviously, but it's just really cool to see.
Now, like, how would you define great leadership?
Sometimes, when you talk about leadership, a lot of people, I feel like, in today's world, everyone's out there and becoming like a guru.
Mhm.
Like everyone's like is into coaching, let's say.
Right.
But a lot of times, a lot of people are just talking, but they're not doing or they haven't done so. But when you look at leadership, I think, especially in business, when you look at the team, I think that's where you can define the leader in the front, because that's something that
Mm.
you can't fake. So
Yeah.
you can say this, but then on the backside of your team, it's not what you're saying they are. Then it's like, oh well, the leadership's not there. But then when you see the way things are done, and the leader's not in the building, is like, damn, that's a true leader, because there's no, like, the main guy is not here, and this thing is running. Like, you can tell, there's
Wow.
everything that it's talked about is being done, and I
Yeah.
think that's how I look at leadership. Like,
Mm.
the team defines you. Like that's why, like, I tell my team as well. Like, my image is the biggest thing that I have, and I gotta make sure that I train you guys. I gotta make sure that we're all on the same page, because when I'm not here, I want things to be the same way if I was here.
Right.
You gotta train that, but aside from training that, they have to buy into the dream, and you gotta make
Mhm.
sure that you paint the picture. You gotta become a good leader for that, because if you don't paint it, then, like I said, you're gonna have people that are not engaged, and those are the ones that are just kind of jumping around from paycheck to paycheck, and seeing who pays the most. But when there's actually something good that you're building, people want to be part of that.
Yeah.
It's seen right away.
I know that you're big on incentives,
Mhm,
right, for your team, but I mean, for smaller tasks,
mhm.
is it just that you embed like the culture team mentality into the whole team, or is there small incentives for like every day, or how does that work?
There's incentives, but everyone, like, for example, in the way that I put it, in the industry that I'm in, like, my manager is nothing without our loop techs. Our loop techs are nothing without our assistant managers or our mechanics. So every position has to be filled in.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you do, like, we all have to work together. So when we all work together, and we do what we said we were gonna do, then obviously there's rewards for that. But when it comes down to, sometimes, aside from the incentives, sometimes a thank you, great job, goes a long way,
Hmm.
because a lot of times people don't do it. It's like, oh yeah, that's part of your job, but it's like,
Yeah.
hey, great job. I noticed, you did this, you did that, didn't have to say anything, really appreciate it, thank you for
Okay.
seeing that. So it's those little things, like I said, sometimes they go a big way.
Yeah.
And it just helps the culture of, like, damn, like, this person stepped up when we needed him the most, and then who's next. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, for all those managers and leaders out there, like, take notes on that, because for those penny pinchers, that's the most effective way and the right way
Yeah.
to like lead a team without having to spend extra money. Because bro, like, I see so many expectations nowadays, as in they only go and talk to the team when they didn't do something.
Yeah.
But when they did do something and go out of their way, even if it's to pick up a piece of paper, bro,
Yeah.
like, they don't say nothing like, "Oh, well, that's what he's supposed to do. That's what he gets paid to do."
Yeah.
Pero, oh, a minute late, and or even some they stay 10 minutes after,
Yeah.
to finish up. Like, hey, ya vete. You're not getting paid overtime for that.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing to hear that, bro. It's refreshing to hear that. So, talking about your brand, what is the difference? Because I feel like a lot of people confuse brand and logo.
Yeah.
How would you like define both of them, like difference? Because so many people they just want to like they're like, hey, that company rebranded themselves.
Mhm.
All they did is just they changed the logo.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between branding and a logo.
Mhm.
How would you define both of them?
So the way I look at a brand is, it has to be appealing, because
Mhm.
if we're, for example, now in today's world, we're running ads, and if the colors or the logo is not really appealing, it's like, I can't really trust that logo. But it's not that you don't
Mm.
trust the logo, it's that maybe you don't trust the brand, because it just looks a little wacky, let's say. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it looks like, I don't know. And then you have someone else running an ad, and everything looks just right. The colors is simple, they're not trying too hard, and it's like,
Mm.
I'm gonna give the business to that company, just because overall, it just looks better. And, like, for example, like, all the little things. Like sometimes we try to make it a little bit too more complex just to stand out,
Mm-hmm.
but people like simple things, you know. So
Yeah.
if someone sees something, is like, oh, you know, I like the logo, like that's actually pretty cool, you know. I see what they did there, you know. So you want to relate with them, you know. If you can't relate with them, it's like, I don't know what that stands for, you know. So I could change the name and just let's say I put REL.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people don't know what REL is, you know, but they look at Rancho Express Loop and the logo is a man with wrench. That tells someone like, oh, so they wrench on cars.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't do cheese and oil change. They may probably do maybe more. So it's the way I look at it. You know, like you
Yeah.
want to make sure like the logo or your brand has a message. Sometimes companies have that missing, and that's why they really don't move up
Yeah.
because they're they're ignoring a big thing sometimes in business, and you gotta make sure the message is clear.
Right. Okay. Oh, thank you for that, bro.
Yeah.
Like that gives a whole clarity on that. And now since we're bringing this home, bro, I don't know if you noticed, but 2 hours have passed by already.
Oh, I thought it was three. No,
I'm telling you, you lose
see.
track of time with it. But I do want to ask you some questions, bro. Like, I still haven't had the blessing of having my firstborn yet, but that's what we're planning on. And you having two beautiful children, a boy and a girl. What's something that you being a father now for a few years, you're doing differently for your kids compared to how you grew up, besides the experiences like taking them to Disneyland, like other things of that nature. Because like now when I'm sitting down with somebody, they don't even gotta be older than me, just somebody that I respect as a father figure,
Yeah.
and as a leader. I always ask them questions on that because everybody tells me, hey, you can never be ready to be a father. You can never like you can try to stack up money and all that,
Yeah.
but I'm like, man, you know what? Like maybe you're never gonna be 100% ready, but you can sure push the needle forward to be as prepared as you can.
Yeah.
So what's something different that you feel you might be doing?
Compared to what I got when I was
Yeah, like compared to growing up, like, but besides like, maybe because I know you mentioned you didn't grow up with many means.
yeah, yeah.
So you taking your children like to Disneyland and like, to amusement parks and like that, at a very young age,
Mhm.
having a nice, beautiful home, all that. Besides that, what's something that you might be doing a little differently that maybe you didn't get from your parents?
So pretty much, you know, especially in our community, the first thing that sometimes we teach our kids is don't do this. No, no,
Mm.
no, no,
Yeah,
no, no. So the
100%.
kid grows up with no's, used to no's. So that starts having a mentality like, oh no, like maybe this is not for me. You know, so all these
Hmm.
no, no, no's. I mean, I know they're still young, but we try to teach them, especially my wife. She's a Montessori a former teacher, so she everything our kids know is obviously because of her. So they grew up really fast and just doing little simple things that sometimes like let's say like my for example my at 9 months my daughter was already like feeding herself and just doing a lot of
Oh
little
wow.
things that like I said at the age of a month they really make a difference as you're growing up, you know. So
Hmm.
that obviously helped me learn a lot of things, but aside from that it's just pretty much trying to teach your kids that, you know, like it's okay if you get hurt, like just stand up, like don't just like oh come here baby, like I know it's your kids, but you gotta have them not like adapt to fear because sometimes a kid falls and it's like, oh no, don't do this, I told you not to do this, and come here baby, and then they won't ever do that again. And
Yeah.
I think another big one is also communication.
Mm.
So having
Mhm.
having just exposure to like more kids and having an environment of just like positive stuff, you know,
Yeah.
because that's a big one as a kid. Like if they're surrounded by a lot of negativity, even though they're just young kids, I feel like that also goes into their mood sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, you see them, there's like they don't really smile, they're just like whatever, but it's because of the maybe the exposure that they have at
Yeah.
home. Maybe they don't get that much attention, and
Mm.
it's a lot of things.
Because my mom and my mother-in-law, they both have daycares at home, like
Mm,
childcares at home, and she started like when I was in maybe freshman year in high school. So I did, but like being a kid myself, you didn't really pay attention to that. But when I reminisce, I'm like, damn, yeah, like that family was going through like a lot, right?
yeah,
And you would see the difference in the children. So my mom's like, hey, from 0 to 5, like those are some of the most critical years of a human's life, not just
yeah,
a child, like a human's life, because that's the foundation, that's the base for the rest of their life.
yeah.
So okay, that's sick, bro. Now, personally, me and my wife, we both believe in this slogan, and we live our marriage by it, and we run our team by it. And it's let's grow together so we never have to grow apart. So for you, what's a personal principle for keeping the family bond while building an empire, bro?
Think obviously, yeah, unity is
Hmm.
one big one, but also clarity. Gotta make sure we both are on like working towards the same goals, because sometimes that's what happens in a marriage and work environment and a friendship. Sometimes we don't ask, hey, so I know that I'm accomplishing my goals, but are we accomplishing your goals? So a lot of it is obviously communication, but understanding like, are we both going towards the same path? Because we gotta work, like you said, gotta grow together, but we gotta make sure
Yeah.
we actually talk about it and see that, hey, like it's going good for me, or maybe it's not going good for me, but how are we doing on your side?
Yeah.
Going that back and forth, I think one, it does hold each other accountable, and I think that's one of the biggest things in at least my journey as well. I was super in my own little thing, introverted. And it was my wife that signed me up in the Chamber of Commerce. She like
Oh,
wanted to be, you want to
nice.
be a business owner
Yes.
is what business owners do,
I
so it's part
love
of the
it.
package. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing that? Like, I hate public speaking. I hate being around other people. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. You gotta get used to it, because
Hmm.
you say you want this and you gotta break this one. So
Wow.
she hold me accountable. I mean, that's why I everything I do, I tell her. That way, she's like, hey, like, hey, can you ask me how are we doing on this side? I want to make sure, like I said earlier, one of the things I like from 10x is that they check up on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge, also, especially coming from a spouse. Like, hey, like you said you wanted this, but how is it going? And sometimes, obviously, it's not always good. Sometimes,
Mhm.
hey, it's not going well. But okay, but how can we make it better? How can I help you? So
Mhm.
having each other's back is
100%. And now, like at this stage in your life, bro, how would you define success for yourself today?
for me. Like I said, as the days go by, even more, it's like I want more freedom. I want more time.
Mhm.
That's what I'm trying to get back. And yeah, we're both young, and doing, is it pretty good. And I think the way I see success is like, I just want to spend and give my family everything that I can possibly. But aside
Mhm.
from that, at the same time, is building a legacy. Like, I want to build something for not just for my kids, but you know, talking about like hundreds of years after, like like having that chain that not only me, but my kids took it to a different notch, and then their kids took it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That I think that to me that's the success. Obviously at the same time, making living, pretty much making experiences with your
Yeah.
young ones and your family and whatnot.
It's like God said, man, you gotta leave an inheritance for your children's children.
Yep.
So you're working with uh like Grant Cardone as a coach now, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell just really briefly on that?
Yeah, of course. So in order to become a 10x business coach, you kind of have to do a few things.
Mhm.
At the time, I had probably spent more than 400,000. So it was one of the things that, hey, we see that you're coming in, you're making investments, but aside from that, we see the growth.
Yeah.
So we wanted, they presented an opportunity, and shout out to Mike Martinez. He's the one that like referred me to it, and that's how I ended up becoming in the 10x community business coach. They're like, oh, we need someone in the automotive space. We have a lot of coaches in different industries, but he's like, we're looking for HVAC, plumbers, automotive, and I think it's a really good fit. So now, how it works is that we pretty much, I have my coach. I have to do material. I have to learn myself. That way, I have something to teach my mentees.
Mhm.
But my niche, like I had mentioned before, is just automotive people. Most of them, I like working with people that are at least broke at least already six figures, because unfortunately in this world you can't help everybody.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the thing that I love doing, being going through that phase of making, let's say 400 500K, and you kind of hit a lid. You kind of like feel lost, you don't know what to do next. And that's where I come in, and pretty much showing up the distance of the first million, and get them there with the things that I did. But not only that, all my mistakes,
Mm.
all the things that I know now, and that way they avoid it,
Yeah.
and teach them really like the steps to get them there. Because a lot of times that going back to when I was in that position, if I would have the guidance, I think once again it would have made everything much faster.
100%.
And that's the biggest thing that, I mean, I honestly, I love doing it. I love helping others, and for me, aside from only not only helping others, is like I want to create future partnerships. So if I'm meeting a lot of people from all over the U.S. because we run ads, the beauty of it is we start creating relationships every time. Let's say I go to that state, I have someone I can go sit down, have a nice dinner with, and grow from there. Who knows? Maybe I partner up with someone from Chicago, and we ended up building an empire together. So
Yeah.
that's the full image of the 10x community and the coaching. I honestly, I mean, a lot of people maybe don't believe it, but I don't do it for the money. I don't even charge maybe what I'm supposed to charge, and it's
Yeah.
because I understand where a lot of times people in the industry don't have the money to even commit. So why would I put the price so high? I'm not at that point. It's for me, not for the people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge, bro. And what's one question that you wish people would ask you more often, but they don't?
I feel like sometimes people are too scared to ask questions, but I think if I could take it back and just focus more on things like, hey, like the not like the not what to do's, like, hey, can you tell
Mm,
me, like, if I'm in this position, like, what should I not do? Like, like
what to not
learn
do?
from the
Yeah.
experiences, because a lot of times they're like the questions are like, oh, so how do you get from here to here? Like, yeah, it's cool, but can you ask me, hey, when you were here, like, what are some of the biggest challenges you were facing? Like, we talk about
That's
more of the problems we identify, but because if like sometimes we're like we don't want to break the ice, like, oh, I don't want to tell him what I'm going through. I'm gonna be like, hey, so can you kind of tell me how to get to this goal or whatever? I feel like we're still not in the same radar, and I feel like we
mm,
we talk about like the ugly truth sometimes. Like, hey, like when you say you were in this position, or you're going through, tell me about it. Like, I think I like those questions more.
bro, that's fire, man. Like, cause that's huge. Like, what should I not do?
Yeah, yeah,
Because everybody's asking, like, hey,
yeah, yeah.
what should I
What should I
do?
do? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And it's kind of like going to a personal trainer. It's like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, but you shouldn't
yeah.
be eating that torta fool at night, when you get
The
home. Like
brownies.
oh man, bro, pan con dulce en la
Yeah,
mañanita.
all the tough ones.
Yeah, yes. In this culture, it is, bro. But listen, before we wrap up, man, I want to pivot real quick because you're gonna be one of the keynote speakers at the WGT Summit too.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, thank you for being part of, bro.
Thank you
Like,
for including me, brother.
oh man,
Appreciate it.
it's gonna be a blessing having you on and sharing this knowledge with the people. But you having been to personal development events, bro, networking events, like conventions, I mean, you name it. You feel me? You've been there and you've invested heavily. Now, what can people expect to hear from Nestor Gutierrez himself and come out of that event knowing, man?
So, I mean, for me, I'm always trying to provide as much value as possible.
Mhm.
And if I can teach or share some of, like I said, my own previous experiences, I hope to at least help a few people, there, and just being completely real. I like keeping it real. I like keeping all the BS aside and just deliver as much as possible. And I think a lot of times, at least in my perspective, I think we don't focus on the little things that sometimes we don't think that matter, like SOPs, leadership, team meetings.
Mhm.
And I like talking about that because that made a huge difference in the way we operated, having people being engaged actually in the day to day. And I would love to talk more about that in the conference.
Awesome, man. And we would love to hear it, man. We would love to hear it. So November 6th, guys, in Montebello, grab your tickets. We'll have the links in the bio. By the way, where can they follow you for more of this fire, bro? More of this information.
So all platforms, the Nestor Gutierrez, and my business is Rancho Express Lubin.
Amazing, brother. Amazing. Thank you very much for your time, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.